Modern archaeological discoveries not only shed new light on ancient civilizations, but also open up countless mysteries about the beliefs and development of humanity from thousands of years ago. As we embark on this journey to decode the past, we're confronted not only with physical traces, but also with stories that reach far beyond the boundaries of conventional understanding. So fasten your seatbelt as we dive into today's mystery. But first, you'll have incredible luck if you like, and subscribe before this video ends. Does Earth have a twin? At the heart of every star system, the movements of celestial bodies seem to follow a rigorously predetermined order. Earth revolves around the Sun in a steady, predictable orbit, carrying with it all the conditions necessary for life. But what if, on the opposite side of Earth's orbit, precisely 180 degrees away from us, there existed a twin planet? Imagine a world that always remains hidden from direct observation, forever shielded from our view by the Sun itself. While this idea remains purely hypothetical, it has stirred considerable debate within the astronomical community. For such a planet to exist, all the laws of celestial mechanics would need to be strictly adhered to. In theory, if there were another planet with the same mass and orbital speed as Earth, following a perfectly synchronized path on the far side of the Sun, both worlds would always be situated on the same circle, each occupying half the orbit. This means that any light emanating from Earth's twin would never reach us, as the Sun would act as a permanent barrier. The question arises, would the gravitational pull of this mysterious planet be strong enough for modern telescopes to detect, or could subtle fluctuations in Earth's own orbit betray its presence? When we examine the realm of special orbital dynamics, we find that many planetary systems in the universe feature so-called binary planets, two bodies of similar mass orbiting a common center of gravity in a shared, concentric path around their parent star. There are also cases of co-orbital planets, where two smaller worlds share the same orbital path and occasionally swap positions, much like Saturn's moons, Janus and Epimetheus. These satellites never collide. Instead, they move in a perfectly coordinated rhythm, showcasing a rare stability in the cosmic dance. As for Earth, however, there has never been any evidence to suggest the presence of a co-orbital partner or a hidden twin sharing its path. Observations from telescopes and precise measurements of Earth's gravitational field have revealed no unusual discrepancies. If a true twin planet did exist, its mass and gravitational force would subtly alter the orbits of other planets, producing strange signals in the observational data that scientists have been collecting for centuries. Yet so far, all evidence has ruled out this possibility. Even though it remains unconfirmed, the idea of an Earth twin continues to fuel the curiosity not only of astronomers, but also of anyone who has ever looked up at the night sky in wonder. It serves as a reminder that the universe is always presenting us with questions that lie beyond the limits of our current knowledge, and that every humble admission of what we do not yet understand opens a new horizon for scientific discovery. The Lost City in South Africa. The application of LiDAR technology has enabled scientists to discover Quinang, a vast ancient city hidden beneath the dense vegetation in the outskirts of Johannesburg, South Africa. The scan images revealed more than 750 stone houses, an intricate network of roads, public gathering areas, and livestock paths, painting a picture of an urban landscape stretching across miles. Compared to the famous cities of Mesopotamia, Quinang was not only larger but also more logically organized. Yet it faded into obscurity for centuries due to social upheaval and the relentless passage of time. One of the most distinctive cultural features of Quinang was the presence of large ash mounds accumulating in front of major households. These were not worthless ruins, but symbols of power and wealth, reflecting traditions of hospitality and the scale of communal festivals. Nearby, a series of uniquely shaped stone towers rose throughout the city. Their purpose still a matter of speculation. Some theories suggest they were granaries, religious symbols, or territorial markers for powerful lineages. The city of Quinang once served as the center for the Botswana kingdoms, but was lost after a series of wars and internal conflicts in the 19th century. Much of Quinang's legacy disappeared from collective memory when its last inhabitants abandoned the site during the Defecane era. Only with the use of modern archaeological tools such as LiDAR has the dust of time been brushed aside, offering a completely new perspective on the development, social stratification, and stature of medieval African civilizations. This discovery not only enriches the world's archaeological heritage, but also raises important questions about how ancient societies adapted, flourished, and eventually declined in the face of nature and history. Secret Mars colony. In modern history, Mars has always been at the center of speculation about extraterrestrial life and humanity's dreams of expansion beyond Earth. In addition to the well-known public exploration programs led by major powers, numerous conspiracy theories have emerged, suggesting that humans secretly set foot on the Red Planet decades ago. Some unofficial sources claim that as early as the beginning of the 20th century, secret projects were undertaken by German scientists and later by Americans, aiming to build underground bases on Mars to avoid public and international scrutiny. According to documents circulated in non-mainstream media, certain individuals who claim to be insiders have provided detailed accounts of the recruitment, training, and transport of crews to Mars using advanced, undisclosed technologies. Some former soldiers, identifying themselves as US Marines, have stated that they were assigned to protect underground settlements from unknown dangers on the Martian surface. In addition, a number of engineers who once worked at NASA have come forward with reports of unusual observations in data sent back from Mars probes and of images that were allegedly altered before being released to the public. Another branch of these conspiracy theories centers around the concept of a shadow government, described as a secretive power network operating beyond the reach of legitimate authorities, controlling top-secret space programs with virtually unlimited financial and technological resources. Some believe this network recruited scientists from multiple countries to collaborate on interplanetary projects, while simultaneously hiding all evidence of human presence on Mars through data, censorship, and media manipulation. However, up to this point, there has been no scientific document or experimental evidence confirmed by any international space research organizations to prove the existence of secret human bases or operations on Mars. The accounts and documents remain largely unverified, lacking independent confirmation and typically involving a significant degree of speculation. The story of a secret Mars colony is both intriguing and challenging. It raises questions about the boundaries between belief, scientific evidence, and the power of modern media in shaping contemporary legends. As observers and analysts, viewers are urged to question the authenticity of such information, compare it with accepted scientific standards, and remain discerning in the face of claims that have yet to be substantiated by concrete evidence. So, many super-Earths. In recent years, the discovery of a multitude of super-Earth exoplanets has transformed our understanding of the diversity of worlds in the universe. The term super-Earth refers to planets with a mass greater than Earth, but still smaller than that of the giant gas planets. Notably, astronomers have observed that these super-Earths are not only concentrated close to their parent stars, but can also be found in much more distant orbits, comparable to or even beyond the location of Saturn in our own solar system. This raises profound questions for science about the boundaries of the so-called habitable zone, the region around a star where conditions might allow liquid water to exist on a planet's surface. The diverse presence of super-Earths suggests that the concept of a habitable zone must be reconsidered using more criteria than just the distance to the parent star. Each star system possesses its own unique temperature ranges and physical conditions, shaped by the spectral type and brightness of the central star, as well as the atmospheric properties of each planet. Whereas scientists once focused their search on rocky planets in orbits similar to Earth's around the Sun, today super-Earths located farther out, even beyond the traditional habitable zone, could still maintain liquid water, thanks to thick atmospheres or powerful greenhouse effects. To detect these distant worlds, astronomers use gravitational microlensing, a technique based on Einstein's theory of general relativity. When a massive object such as a star or planet passes between us and a more distant light source, its gravity bends and briefly amplifies the background light. If a planet orbits the star in this configuration, it will create a tiny, distinctive signal in the amplification of light, allowing astronomers to discover the planet even when it is far away or cannot be seen directly. International networks of telescopes, such as the Korean Microlensing Telescope Network operating in Chile, South Africa, and Australia, work continuously to collect data on microlensing events, capturing exoplanets that are out of reach for traditional detection methods. As a result, more and more super-Earths are being confirmed in the cold outer reaches of star systems, revealing that planets may exist under an astonishingly wide range of conditions. This richness is driving science to expand its theories about extraterrestrial environments and to lay the groundwork for searches for life in forms completely different from what we know on Earth, even in places long considered too hostile for liquid water or a biosphere to exist. The second moon. The idea of Earth having a second moon always sparks public curiosity whenever news emerges of a small object, sometimes called a mini-moon, orbiting our planet. In reality, these mini-moons are not true natural satellites, but rather small asteroids temporarily captured by Earth's gravity. After a short period, they either escape back into space or fall to Earth. A prime example is asteroid 2024 PT5, which, despite circling the Earth several times, does not meet the criteria for being recognized as a moon due to its small size and unstable orbit. To be considered a true moon, a celestial body must maintain a stable orbit around its host planet, not just be subject to temporary gravitational capture, and must remain in a long-term position in the sky, also responding to tidal interactions and other dynamic forces. Today, the Moon is the only natural satellite of Earth that fully meets these criteria, with a stable orbit that has lasted billions of years. If Earth truly gained a second moon of substantial size and in a stable orbit, the effects on our planet would be profound. Tides, which are strongly influenced by the gravitational pull of the Moon, would become much more complex. Two satellites, each with their own distance and mass, would create strange tidal variations, possibly resulting in double tides or even unusually turbulent seas. Such changes would alter the habitats of many marine species, directly affecting the reproductive cycles and migrations that are synchronized with the rhythms of the Moon. Not only the oceans, but also land-based ecosystems would adapt to new patterns of nighttime illumination, temperature, and biological cycles, all shaped by the presence of two lunar light sources. The scenario of a two-moon Earth raises fascinating scientific questions about the evolution of the biosphere, about how other planetary systems might develop with multiple natural satellites, and serves as a reminder that our solar system still holds many mysteries yet to be explored. Even the temporary mini-moons, though merely visitors in Earth's orbit, help expand our knowledge of planetary dynamics and the unexpected phenomena that may still be waiting to be discovered around our blue planet. The Garden of Eden beneath the Giza Pyramids. The hypothesis that the Garden of Eden lies beneath the Giza Pyramids has sparked intense debate among historians and archaeologists. According to Dr. Borisov, rather than being located in Mesopotamia as traditionally believed, this legendary site may actually be buried beneath Egypt's Great Pyramid. He bases his argument on a comparison of the rivers mentioned in the Bible with major river systems in Egypt and South Asia. Of particular note are ancient maps such as the Mappa Mundi, which depict 4 great rivers emanating from a sacred region, the center of the universe, according to medieval cosmology. Analyzing religious symbols and architectural structures, Dr. Borisov asserts that the Giza Pyramid is not just a royal tomb or astronomical observatory, but carries a much deeper symbolic meaning as a tree of life that shelters the origins of humanity. The connections between river imagery, the pyramid's position, and ancient legends suggest the possibility of an entirely new layer of significance within Egyptian architecture. For many scholars, this approach is rich in interdisciplinary insight, helping to decode the symbolic role of these monumental works beyond their practical functions. Yet, many major questions remain unresolved. Borisov's arguments are mainly built on symbolic interpretation and map comparison, lacking concrete archaeological evidence. Is the theory of the Garden of Eden beneath the pyramid simply a product of modern imagination, or does it hint at a forgotten truth about human history? These ongoing debates continue to inspire researchers and capture the public's imagination with the oldest mysteries of Egyptian civilization. The discovery of a subsurface ocean on Mimas. Hidden deep beneath the dozens of kilometers thick layer of ice on Mimas, a small moon orbiting Saturn, scientists have just confirmed the existence of a liquid ocean, challenging all previous assumptions about the potential for life in our solar system. For decades, Mimas was thought to be nothing more than a barren ice ball, pockmarked with craters and completely unremarkable under standard observational methods. Only when research teams began closely analyzing the tiny rotational wobbles and minute oscillations of Mimas did a new secret slowly come to light. Drawing on data from the Cassini spacecraft, astronomers recorded anomalous orbital shifts in Mimas movements that could not be explained if the moon were entirely solid. These discrepancies can only occur if, beneath the thick ice shell, there exists a massive liquid layer, occupying nearly half the satellite's total volume. This vast reservoir of liquid water is maintained by tidal energy, the result of Saturn's constantly shifting gravitational pull, which causes Mimas's core to flex and generate heat. This same mechanism keeps the subsurface oceans of Europa and Enceladus, 2 larger moons in the solar system, in a liquid state, even though their surfaces remain at frigid temperatures. What makes this discovery so striking is that Mimas had long been dismissed as a place completely inhospitable to life. Unlike Enceladus, which has exhibited dramatic plumes of vapor shooting into space, or Europa, with its fractured surface betraying evidence of active movement below, Mimas's exterior appears almost motionless, showing no signs of geologic activity or liquid water beneath the ice. The revelation of a hidden ocean on Mimas has forced astronomers to expand their definition of where life might lurk, not just in noisy worlds, but even on the quietest, most unassuming moons and planets, where secret oceans could be silently nurturing the possibility of life. This finding raises a critical hypothesis for the search for life beyond Earth. If a small moon like Mimas, with no atmosphere and no obvious external heat source, can still preserve a liquid ocean, the potential for other hidden environments on distant worlds becomes much greater. A subsurface ocean beneath thick ice is not only a vast reservoir of water, but also a protective haven from cosmic radiation, providing a stable environment for complex chemical cycles to evolve in isolation for millions of years. From here, the quest for life in the solar system and beyond may need to shift strategy, not just focusing on large planets or obviously active moons, but patiently investigating the silent worlds, where every small motion could signal a secret ocean quietly sustaining the possibility of life beneath the coldest, most frozen surfaces. Dark matter and mass extinctions. Dark matter is one of the universe's greatest mysteries, making up more than 80% of all matter, yet emitting no light or electromagnetic radiation revealed only through its gravitational influence. In recent years, physicists and astronomers have hypothesized that dark matter may have had a profound impact on Earth's history, possibly playing a role in the mass extinction events that have shaped the planet's past. One of the most intriguing theories suggests that as the solar system orbits the center of the Milky Way, it periodically passes through dense regions of dark matter. Each time this happens, the gravitational pull of dark matter could disturb the distant clouds of comets at the solar system's edge, especially the Oort cloud, home to billions of icy bodies. This disruption would increase the odds that comets are knocked out of their stable orbits and sent hurtling toward the inner solar system, raising the risk of catastrophic collisions with Earth. Geological and fossil evidence shows that major extinction events on Earth tend to occur in cycles every 26 to 30 million years, remarkably close to the estimated period for the solar system to pass through the dense midplane of the Milky Way's dark matter. Some scientists argue that massive meteor showers resulting from this process could be the main culprits behind extinction events, such as the one that ended the Cretaceous period 66 million years ago, when a gigantic asteroid struck Earth and wiped out most of the dinosaurs. Though debate continues, the dark matter hypothesis and its indirect role in determining the fate of life on Earth offers a new way to explain the planet's greatest upheavals. Research remains focused on modeling the solar system's orbit, mapping the distribution of dark matter, and tracking geological layers that bear evidence of massive impacts, all in an effort to shed light on the links between cosmic movement and the evolution and extinction of life on Earth. The demon traps of Sardis. In the ancient city of Sardis, Turkey, archaeologists have uncovered extraordinary traces of the beliefs and risk mitigation rituals practiced by its ancient inhabitants. After a devastating earthquake in 17 CE, as people rebuilt, archaeologists found that many new house foundations concealed ceramic jars filled with strange objects, bronze tools, eggshells, coins, and even the bones of young animals. Research indicates that these were not random relics, but rather demon traps, ritual offerings buried with the express purpose of warding off evil spirits and preventing disasters from recurring. This phenomenon reflects the collective psychology in the wake of natural catastrophe. The people of Sardis believed that supernatural forces could both cause and avert earthquakes, so they blended traditional rites with elements of superstition in hopes of protecting themselves and their communities. These ritual jars, combining metal, eggshells, symbols of new life, and coins, symbols of fortune and change, were intended as an invisible shield against dangers arising from beneath the earth. This discovery not only opens a window into the spiritual life of ancient societies, but also highlights the powerful influence of natural disasters on collective behavior, from architecture to ritual practice. The demon traps beneath the homes of Sardis stand as vivid evidence of the intersection between ancient construction science, community psychology, and traditional values in the societies of the ancient East. Strange chemical traces on Mars. At Gale Crater on Mars, the Curiosity rover has conducted a series of detailed chemical analyses on ancient soil samples, opening up new directions in the search for possible past life on the Red Planet. This ongoing investigation, which began in 2012, focuses on measuring carbon isotopes found in sediment layers buried deep beneath the surface. The samples were heated inside Curiosity's onboard analysis chamber, releasing gas molecules so that the proportions of carbon-12 and carbon-13 could be measured separately. The results revealed that the ratio of carbon-13 in certain soil samples from Gale Crater is significantly different from typical Martian samples, a sign that, on Earth, is sometimes linked to ancient biological activity. Fossilized microorganisms on our planet often retain a similar isotopic ratio, as microbes tend to favor lighter carbon in their metabolic processes. However, the origin of these isotopes on Mars remains a matter of debate. One possibility is that purely physical processes, such as ultraviolet radiation breaking down CO2s into free carbon atoms, could be responsible. Another theory suggests cosmic dust storms might have deposited these materials onto the surface long ago. There is also the chance that chemical reactions involving Martian minerals produced unusual isotope ratios without the involvement of life at all. Although there is no direct evidence of life, this discovery increases the likelihood that complex chemical cycles once operated in Mars's ancient subsurface. When compared to fossil samples from ancient rock strata in Australia, a similar ratio of carbon isotopes can be seen on both planets, an intriguing clue in the search for extraterrestrial life. Further analysis by Curiosity, along with future missions such as Mars Sample Return, will help clarify the origin of these carbon isotopes and determine whether these chemical signatures are relics of ancient microbial life or merely the product of natural geochemical processes. The chemical evidence gathered at Gale Crater thus continues to pose major questions for planetary scientists. The altar on Mount Ebal. Situated on the slopes of Mount Ebal in central Israel, archaeologists have uncovered a large ritual altar dated to the beginning of the Iron Age. The location and structure of this site directly echo biblical descriptions of places where the ancient Israelites conducted sacrificial rituals, especially the story of the altar built by Joshua to offer sacrifices after crossing the Jordan River. The altar is constructed from large unhewn stones and features a distinctive central platform, with surrounding steps and an inclined ramp leading up to the top. Inside the altar, archaeologists found layers of ash, charred animal bones, and the remains of ritual fires. Analysis of these remains shows they are primarily bones of clean animals, according to Jewish dietary law, supporting the theory that sacrifices were performed here following ancient religious rites. The combination of archaeological field data and detailed descriptions from biblical texts provides a strong scientific foundation for understanding the role and significance of the site. Not only is the Mount Ebal altar a rare material witness to Iron Age religious practice, it also serves as a crucial link in reconstructing the origins, development, and identity of the ancient Israelite community in the Near East. This site offers a new perspective on the intersection of legend, sacred writings, and archaeological reality in decoding humanity's past. The mummified fetuses in Tutankhamun's tomb. The discovery of 2 mummified fetuses in King Tutankhamun's tomb has offered a new perspective on ancient Egyptian burial rituals and royal customs. At first, these specimens were simply stored away as unidentified relics. However, DNA analysis in 2008 confirmed that they were Tutankhamun's 2 daughters, both of whom died as fetuses. Both remains were placed in small coffins, interred alongside the pharaoh in the Valley of the Kings, a testament to the ancient belief in preserving and strengthening the royal bloodline. This practice was meant to ensure dynastic continuity and reinforce royal authority in both spiritual and political life. Beyond its archaeological value, the discovery has proven crucial to genetic research, providing rare data on lineage and family ties within Egypt's royal dynasties. Further analysis revealed that the mother of the 2 princesses was both Tutankhamun's wife and half-sister, highlighting the phenomenon of royal incest aimed at maintaining the purity of the bloodline. This information has helped expand our understanding of social structure, religious norms, and genetic consequences in Egypt's New Kingdom royal families. Additionally, the burial of fetuses with their father reflects a deep belief in reunion and protection of royal souls in the afterlife, and underscores the central role of funerary rituals in political and religious power. Extraterrestrial. Plutonium on Earth's ocean floor. Beneath the deep layers of sediment on the Pacific Ocean floor, scientists have discovered a rare type of plutonium carrying the signature of physical processes that cannot occur naturally on Earth. This plutonium isotope, with its unique age and radioactive properties, can only be formed in the extreme collisions of neutron stars, a phenomenon rarely witnessed in the universe. When two neutron stars merge, the density of matter and energy exceeds any condition found on our planet, triggering nuclear fusion reactions that create heavy elements like gold, uranium, and, most notably, plutonium. The presence of this plutonium in ocean sediments provides direct evidence that alien material has fallen to Earth in the past. Researchers have identified sediment layers containing minute amounts of still radioactive plutonium, matching theoretical predictions about the isotope's decay rate since its formation in outer space and its arrival on Earth millions of years ago. These findings support the view that most of the heavy elements on Earth originated in distant cosmic catastrophes, not as products of our own solar system's formation, but as remnants of star collisions, supernova explosions, or neutron star mergers. This discovery expands our knowledge of the origin of Earth's material, highlighting a direct link between our planet's formation and the most extreme events at the edge of the galaxy. It is through these collisions that precious elements were seeded on Earth, laying the foundation for the cycles of matter and life itself. The mystery of the Maya city. Deep within the jungles of Chiapas, Mexico, lies the city of Palenque, one of the most remarkable sites of the ancient Maya civilization. Built and flourishing from the 7th century onward, Palenque became a hub of power, science, technology, and the arts in pre-Hispanic Mesoamerica. Its architecture stands as a clear testament to the Maya's technical mastery in urban planning, multi-tiered palaces and temples, and ingenious hydraulic and underground water systems that operated reliably for centuries. Palenque was not just a showpiece of elite power, but also a center of faith and a repository of the cultural achievements of a once great civilization. No discussion of Palenque is complete without mentioning its greatest king, Pakal the Great. Crowned at just 12 years old, he ruled for nearly 7 decades, ushering in an era of lasting stability and cultural flourishing. During Pakal's reign, Palenque saw the construction of grand architectural projects, most notably the vast palace complex and its iconic multi-story temple towers. But his most enduring legacy is the tomb built within the Temple of the Inscriptions, a marvel that combines construction, sculpture, and deep spiritual symbolism. The greatest archaeological discovery at Palenque took place in the mid-20th century, when researchers uncovered a secret passage deep within the temple, leading to Pakal's undisturbed tomb. Inside this subterranean crypt, experts found an exquisite jade mask resting over the king's face, along with precious jewelry, figurines, and burial items that spoke to the life and power of the Maya elite. This discovery dramatically transformed our understanding of the social organization, spiritual beliefs, and artistic sophistication of the Maya. One of the most debated topics surrounding Palenque is the meaning of the relief carved onto Pakal's sarcophagus lid. For a time, some argued that it depicted the king piloting an alien spacecraft, fueling theories of extraterrestrial intervention in Maya development. However, modern scientific analysis has shown that the design is in fact a collection of traditional Maya symbols. Pakal is shown lying on his back, reaching toward the Tree of Life, surrounded by gods and cosmic images, representing the cycle of life, death, and rebirth according to Maya faith. These symbols illustrate not only the complexity of Maya cosmology, but also their philosophical, religious, and artistic depth. Through all that remains, Palenque is a testament to the technical prowess and cultural richness of the Maya. Its architecture, waterworks, and artistic achievements have helped cement Palenque's place in human history, and have ensured that the Maya endure as one of the most dazzling and mysterious civilizations ever to exist on Earth. Witnessing the birth of Saturn's new moon. At the edge of Saturn's A-ring, astronomers have for the first time directly observed the formation of a new natural satellite, an event previously only theorized in scientific models. The moon Peggy first appeared as a small clump of material, roughly 1.2 kilometers wide, moving along the ring's edge amidst countless fragments of ice and dust. Observations from the Cassini spacecraft recorded Peggy's unusual changes year after year. At times, Peggy disappeared from view, only to reappear with signs of collision or separation, resulting in a smaller body that was named Peggy B. This chain of events confirmed that the dynamic evolution of small moons in Saturn's system is far from static, instead constantly shaped by gravitational forces, impacts, and the restless motion of surrounding material. Documenting the birth and transformation of a moon like Peggy has provided science with rare, direct evidence of how natural satellites are created. Rather than being fixed since the dawn of the solar system, many of Saturn's small moons may still emerge or vanish due to physical changes within the rings. This process unfolds as debris accumulates and clumps together under gravity, gradually growing into a complete moon, or, conversely, breaking apart and dispersing back into the ring. The discovery of Peggy also raises questions about whether other giant planets, even Earth, might form new moons in the distant future, if the physical conditions are right. However, such processes occur most vigorously around planets, with well-developed ring systems or regions rich in colliding material, such as Saturn or Jupiter. For Earth, the chance of witnessing a new moon is extremely low, since the existing moon's overwhelming gravity dominates the space nearby. From a broader perspective, observing the evolution of a small moon within Saturn's rings allows scientists to test hypotheses about moon formation in our solar system and provides a model for studying distant planetary systems where the creation of moons and minor satellites may still be ongoing. Peggy stands as living proof that the universe is ever-changing, that the stories of celestial creation continue even in our own time, and that only through patient observation can science gradually unravel the cycles of matter's evolution in space. The Kingman UFO Incident. In 1953, in the skies over Kingman, Arizona, during a period when nuclear tests were being conducted at the Nevada test site, a series of unusual events attracted the attention of the public and researchers alike. Many eyewitnesses reported seeing unidentified flying objects, disc-shaped craft moving at high speeds, leaving brilliant trails of light across the desert sky. According to archival sources and testimonies from technicians who worked for the US military at the time, at least 3 such objects were reported to have crashed near Kingman, with the sites quickly cordoned off by military forces. Some reports claimed that one of the objects was recovered nearly intact and transported to secret facilities for study. The physical traces left behind, along with various artifacts collected at the scene, raised questions about the possibility of extraterrestrial technology, especially as the descriptions of the materials and internal structure did not match any known aviation standards of that era. Some scientific theories have suggested that the incident could have been related to the effects of radio waves or radiation from powerful military radar stations in the area, which might have caused these unidentified craft to lose control. However, due to the lack of independent verification and the fact that most information remains classified, the Kingman incident continues to be a subject of heated debate between skeptics and UFO researchers. From a scientific perspective, the Kingman event reflects society's deep fascination with the prospect of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. It also underscores the importance of verifying field data and the ongoing need for transparency regarding phenomena that defy straightforward explanation. America's desert towns and radiation exposure. In the heart of the Nevada desert, beginning in the early 1950s, mushroom clouds became a familiar sight in the skies over the American West. Under the banner of national security, the US government conducted hundreds of nuclear tests across vast stretches of land, from massive open-air explosions and public demonstrations to secret underground experiments. Each blast sent plumes of radioactive dust far beyond the desert, crossing state lines and spreading hazardous materials that were nearly impossible to control. Small communities downwind of the test sites known as downwinders bore the brunt of the fallout. Residents of Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and even states farther east began to find radioactive dust on their rooftops, in their gardens, and in their water supplies. Children played in this dust, unaware of the danger, while farmers continued their work as if nothing had changed. It was only when rates of cancer, blood disorders, and birth defects began to rise alarmingly that public anxiety took hold. For many years, however, officials and most of the public trusted official statements claiming that all activities were safe. It was not until the end of the 20th century, as epidemiological studies and field evidence mounted, that the impact of radiation was finally taken seriously. The desert ecosystem, its wildlife, crops, and most of all local communities have borne the scars of this legacy, with the effects lingering across generations. Memories of peaceful towns transformed into symbols of Cold War victimhood continue to fuel widespread debate over scientific responsibility and ethics. In 1996, the Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty was signed, ending above-ground nuclear tests. Nevertheless, the legacy of a weaponized desert remains etched into the natural environment and the destinies of many small communities, a stark reminder of the price of scientific power when divorced from social and environmental responsibility. The skeleton of a freed slave in Pompeii. The excavation of Marcus Venerius Secundio's skeleton at Pompeii has provided new insight into the social dynamics and changing fortunes of the city's inhabitants. Originally a slave, Marcus was eventually freed, became a priest, and achieved a prominent status in the community, living to the remarkable age of 60. The personal items found with his remains and the details of his burial show the respect accorded to him by society. Marcus's skeleton was discovered in an exceptionally well-preserved state, thanks to a completely sealed tomb. Archaeologists noted that remnants of his white hair, a portion of his ear, and fragments of clothing still surrounded his body. Particularly noteworthy was the discovery that his burial differed from the usual practice of adult cremation in the 1st century. This data offers vital information about funerary practices and environmental conditions in Pompeii and enables researchers to reconstruct the clothing, customs, and daily life of the urban middle class. Another archaeological highlight was the Greek inscription on his tombstone, showing that Greek was widely used alongside Latin in Pompeii. This reflects the deep cultural integration of the city within the ancient Mediterranean, especially in matters of religion, art, and education. Beyond its anthropological significance, this discovery affirms the diversity of Pompeii's social structure and the fluidity between social classes and backgrounds. That a former slave could rise to a religious position speaks to the city's openness and the possibilities for social mobility. The skeleton of Marcus Venerius Secundio stands as a vivid testament to cultural exchange, spiritual life, and unique biological preservation beneath the volcanic ash of Vesuvius. Ancient cannabis in Central Asia. In 2008, at the ancient Yanghai burial ground deep in the Gobi Desert of Xinjiang, archaeologists uncovered a remarkably preserved cache of dried plants, undisturbed for nearly 3 millennia under the dry, alkaline sand. Dating analysis revealed that these remains were approximately 2,700 years old. The tomb's occupant was a special individual, a shaman of ancient European ancestry, with blonde hair and blue eyes, interred with ritual objects such as stringed instruments, horse tack, and nearly 2 kilograms of cannabis still retaining its green color. Chemical analysis and genetic testing confirmed the plant as Cannabis sativa, a variety rich in THC, the compound that affects the human nervous system. There was no evidence of fiber production, textiles, or industrial use, ruling out the possibility that the cannabis was grown for rope making. Analysis of pollen, seed structure, and plant fossils showed that this was carefully selected cannabis, most likely reserved for religious ceremonies or ancient medicinal practices. Chemical traces of THC remained preserved in the samples, proving that this plant was not only used by major civilizations, but was also common among the nomadic communities of Central Asia. In the dry, hot climate of the steppe, Central Asia became a crossroads of migration and cultural exchange, with cannabis occupying a unique role as a medicine, a ritual element, and a symbol of spiritual belief. The story of this ancient cannabis cache offers a glimpse into the role of plants in human history, showing that people have long used natural compounds to alter consciousness for both practical and spiritual purposes. The Valley of the Whales. In the heart of Egypt's western desert, Wadi Hitan, or the Valley of the Whales, stands as one of natural history's strangest pieces. Here, layers of sand cover ancient sediment, preserving hundreds of fossilized whale skeletons, so well maintained that observers can still identify vertebrae, fins, and even the remnants of the creature's last meals within their rib cages. Wadi Hitan is undeniable evidence that a vast ocean once covered this land millions of years ago, when today's deserts were still beneath saltwater and marine life dominated the environment. The fossils found here mainly belong to the ancient whales Basilosaurus and Dorodon, dating back some 40 million years. Remarkably, several fossils still retain small hind limbs, vestigial legs that had not yet disappeared, proving that the ancestors of modern whales once lived on land before fully adapting to ocean life. This evolutionary transition is clearly recorded in their anatomy. Skulls, teeth, fin structures, and vertebrae show progressive adaptation for swimming in deep water. Other fossil layers have revealed the presence of ancient sharks, rays, and various other vertebrates, all helping to reconstruct the rich marine ecosystem that once flourished in North Africa. Wadi Hitan is not only an archaeological treasure, but also a vital witness to the evolutionary process. From land-dwelling mammals, whales adapted, changed, and conquered the seas, leaving traces in their genetic structure that persist to this day. The discoveries at this valley strengthen the theory of evolution and expand our understanding of environmental change and the biological history of Earth. The tomb of Aristotle. The discovery of a tomb at Stagira, Aristotle's hometown, has sparked major debate in the archaeological community. The structure has been identified as a large burial chamber with a domed roof, located atop a high vantage point overlooking the city below. These features match descriptions of tombs reserved for figures of special status and reflect the ancient Greek mindset regarding sacred space and power in architecture. The tomb is built from premium materials, with intricately decorated details, demonstrating a high level of construction technique achieved by the 4th century BCE. These features are not only symbolic, but also illustrate the development of architectural art as well as the importance of philosophy and knowledge in ancient society. The decision to build the tomb at Aristotle's native Stagira also highlights the connection between a famous individual and their local community, a practice in line with Greek traditions of honoring the dead. Although it cannot be confirmed with absolute certainty that this is Aristotle's actual burial site, archaeologists have relied on multiple indirect sources: ancient texts, architectural evidence, and historical records describing Aristotle's ashes being brought back home after his death in Chalcis. The tomb also provides crucial data for reconstructing ancient funeral rituals, burial customs, and attitudes toward death in Greek society. This research clarifies the relationship between philosophy, religion, and politics, and adds specific details about how physical monuments linked to great thinkers were created. The finding underscores the value of archaeology in deciphering ancient historical sources, opening new avenues of research into social settings, cultural beliefs, and burial customs of the ancient Greeks. Aristotle's tomb stands not only as an archaeological site, but as a symbol of intellect and philosophical legacy that continues to influence the world today. Skeletons beneath the pub. During the demolition of an old pub in Cork Island, construction workers uncovered 6 human skeletons buried deep beneath the foundation. The discovery quickly drew the attention of local archaeologists and forensic experts. After ruling out any connection to modern crime, archaeologists carefully excavated the site, recording the positions of each skeleton and collecting samples for further analysis. Based on the building's context and the presence of ancient pottery fragments, early assessments suggest the remains may date from the 18th century or earlier, with radiocarbon dating expected to provide more precise results. From a social perspective, finding a group of skeletons beneath a city center pub opens several historical possibilities. These could be remnants of an old cemetery, later overtaken by urban development, or evidence of epidemic outbreaks, conflicts, or episodes of mass death in the local area. Determining the exact age and identity of these individuals will allow researchers to reconstruct the development of Cork, shedding light on daily life, health, burial practices, and the major events that shape the community over time. Further analysis of bone morphology, burial conditions, pathological evidence, trauma marks, and associated artifacts will add information about social structure, wealth disparities, migration patterns, and cultural changes in this old European city. What began as a minor discovery beneath a layer of concrete has become an important chapter in urban archaeology, clarifying the relationship between archaeological heritage, city history, and the broader process of Western societal development. Out of place mangroves. The discovery of red mangrove forests thriving deep inland on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, more than 200 kilometers from the present coastline, has raised new questions about environmental history and the evolution of coastal plant species. Field surveys combined with genetic studies have shown that these forests are not the result of recent plant migration, but rather are isolated remnants that have persisted for over 125,000 years. Scientists used DNA analysis to compare these trees with coastal mangrove populations and found clear genetic differences, confirming that this is a separate lineage dating back to a time when sea levels were much higher. Geological evidence and paleoecological analysis also show that, at the end of the Pleistocene, this region was once a river delta on the ancient coast, before sea levels fell and left it stranded far inland. The continuous survival of these mangroves demonstrates the ecosystem's resilience and adaptability in the face of major environmental change. Not only has this forest preserved a unique community of plants, but it also supports a diverse ecosystem, with many animal and plant species having adapted over thousands of generations. This discovery holds significant scientific value, helping reconstruct past global climate change while vividly illustrating the link between geological upheaval and biological evolution. The genetic adaptation of Mexico's inland mangroves offers a new direction for research into ecosystem recovery and resilience in future climate scenarios. These results serve as a warning about the long-term and unpredictable impacts of climate change, highlighting the urgent need to preserve biodiversity in regions that have experienced dramatic environmental transformations. Evidence of ancient tobacco use. In 2021, archaeologists excavating an ancient hearth in the Great Salt Lake Desert of Utah discovered charred tobacco seeds dating back more than 12,000 years. This is the earliest evidence of human tobacco use in the Americas, far predating previous discoveries, which only reached back about 3,000 years. This finding suggests that late Ice Age hunter-gatherers already knew how to exploit native plants not only for food, but also for their biological properties, most likely chewing or otherwise consuming tobacco for its stimulant effects, rather than smoking it, as would become customary later on. Chemical analysis confirmed traces of nicotine on these seeds, reinforcing the theory that prehistoric humans had early knowledge of plants containing psychoactive compounds. This discovery also broadens our understanding of plant consumption habits and the cultural use of stimulants in ancient societies, providing new insights into the origins of tobacco use in human history. From a scientific standpoint, the discovery not only shifts the timeline for the appearance of tobacco use, but also provides a multi-dimensional view of survival strategies and the exchange of botanical knowledge within North America's hunter-gatherer communities. At the same time, it reflects the process of co-evolution between humans and native plants, laying the foundation for social customs, medicine, and rituals related to plants in ancient cultures across the Americas. The secret residential quarter at Tikal. Research at the ancient city of Tikal has yielded a remarkable discovery, thanks to modern scanning technology, which enabled scientists to identify a small-scale residential area once hidden beneath Guatemala's dense jungle. What is striking is that this area's architectural layout, spatial organization, and certain construction features closely resemble the style of Teotihuacan, a major cultural center on the Mexican plateau, hundreds of miles north of Tikal. Survey results show that the structures in this secret quarter not only adopted classic Maya features, but also incorporated techniques, decorative styles, and materials typically seen in Teotihuacan. This similarity raises the hypothesis of a community from Teotihuacan or groups of traders and craftsmen once living and working in Tikal. The layout of homes, plazas, and temples indicates this was not just an ordinary neighborhood, but a crucial hub for economic and religious exchange. Through analysis of excavated artifacts, including pottery, tools, and remnants of rituals, archaeologists have determined that the ties between the two cities went beyond simple trade, extending to cultural, intellectual, and even political exchange. These connections appeared during the peak of both civilizations, when Tikal stood as one of the most powerful Maya city-states and Teotihuacan was the region's religious and commercial center. This discovery plays a key role in redefining Tikal's position within the regional network, proving that the Maya city-states did not exist in isolation, but were part of a vast system linking major power centers from Central America to the Mexican highlands. These relationships may have reshaped the area's political, economic, and religious structures for centuries. The study of this secret residential area has illuminated how great civilizations advanced through contact, adaptation, and the integration of external influences, while providing concrete data for re-evaluating theories about Maya-Teotihuacan relations in the past. Intelligent Neanderthals. During excavations at the Althorp site, archaeologists uncovered seashell fragments fashioned roughly 40,000 years ago. Analysis showed these shells were not used as food, but were modified for use as jewelry. Some even had drill holes for stringing or fastening to garments. This provides direct evidence for creative thinking and artistic activity among Neanderthals, in stark contrast to the old stereotype of a people limited to hunting and basic survival instinct. In addition to jewelry, recent research has uncovered evidence of Neanderthals' social organization. They lived in groups, cared for sick or injured members, held burial rituals, and protected the dead, demonstrating the development of community relationships and spiritual beliefs. Burial remains and skeletons show signs of medical care, and fossil studies reveal that they used plants for treating wounds. The significance of these findings is immense, as they challenge and revise our understanding of Neanderthals, affirming that this human species possessed intellect, symbolic thinking, art, and social traditions. The evidence of jewelry, art, ritual, and mutual care proves that Neanderthals were not simply survival-driven individuals, but builders of a complex social culture. This helps reshape modern scientific perspectives on human evolution, emphasizing Neanderthals' role in humanity's history and in the evolution of ancient intelligence and culture. Mysterious magnetic filaments at the center of the Milky Way. At the heart of the Milky Way, nearly 26,000 light-years from Earth, the most powerful radio telescopes have detected one of the strangest structures ever recorded. Gigantic magnetic filaments stretching hundreds of light years, running parallel and evenly spaced like the strings of a cosmic harp. These filaments are present along the galactic plane, near dense clouds of dust and gas where the supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A, lies hidden. These filaments are unlike anything observed in other galaxies or even in other regions of the Milky Way itself. Observations show that each filament is a stream of electric current, with high-energy electrons moving along the magnetic field lines, emitting intense radio waves and potentially glowing for millions of years. Their colossal size, some up to 150 light-years long and several light-years thick, has forced astronomers to reconsider fundamental assumptions about the material environment and magnetic fields in the galactic core. The origin of these strings remains a mystery. Some theories suggest they may have formed from violent outbursts by the supermassive black hole at the galaxy's center. When Sagittarius A erupted with matter or emitted energy in the distant past, powerful streams of charged particles could have pierced the interstellar medium, leaving behind stable magnetic filaments that persist to this day. Another possibility is that these filaments are linked to swirling flows of gas in the central region, where the magnetic field is amplified and twisted into massive structures. Yet, no theory fully explains how high-energy electrons are accelerated to generate such strong radiation, or why the filaments are so evenly distributed and perfectly aligned. It's also possible they are remnants of ancient events when the Milky Way was first forming, or the result of galaxy collisions and mergers over billions of years. This discovery not only opens new questions about the dynamics at the center of the galaxy, but also presents a significant challenge for modern physics. The magnetic filaments at the Milky Way's core have become one of astrophysics' greatest mysteries, highlighting how much about the universe's center remains unobserved and unexplained. To unravel the origins and roles of these enigmatic structures, science will require generations of even more powerful telescopes and ever deeper theories in physics. The log coffin. In 2019, during the renovation of a pond at a golf course in Tetney, England, workers unexpectedly unearthed a strange object deep underground. Archaeological examination revealed it to be an ancient coffin dating back around 4,000 years. What makes this artifact remarkable is that it was crafted entirely from a large oak trunk, hollowed out to create a burial space. This method not only required sophisticated woodworking skills, but also demonstrates a clear understanding of natural materials by Bronze Age inhabitants. When the coffin was opened, archaeologists found human remains along with several accompanying artifacts. Most notable was a stone battle axe placed beside the body, as well as a layer of plant material lining the coffin, likely used as padding or to protect the deceased. These findings indicate that this was no ordinary grave, but most likely belonged to an important figure in the community, perhaps a chief or religious leader. A key feature of the burial method is the use of a massive wooden trunk covered with earth and gravel, which helped preserve both the coffin and the remains in the damp environment. This demonstrates that ancient people not only mastered timber harvesting techniques, but also understood how environmental conditions affect decomposition. They took advantage of natural factors to safeguard both bones and artifacts, reflecting a conscious effort to protect tradition and community beliefs. From an anthropological perspective, burial with weapons not only reflects social status, but also speaks to beliefs about strength, honor, and the responsibility to protect the tribe, even in the afterlife. The presence of plant padding in the coffin shows a concern for the well-being of the departed. Through such details, scientists can discern a stratified and organized society in which select individuals received special rights upon passing. The log coffin from Tetney provides valuable data on the evolution of woodworking, burial concepts, and social structure in Bronze Age Britain. These discoveries are being further studied and preserved for exhibition, giving modern communities new opportunities to appreciate the diversity and progress of prehistoric European cultures. Doggerland, Europe's real Atlantis. Doggerland, the land that once stretched between Britain and continental Europe, stands as a testament to the great climatic and geological upheavals of the past. At the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, low sea levels connected Britain to the continent, creating vast plains, marshes, lakes, and rich river systems. This was home to Stone Age hunter-gatherer communities whose traces remain in fossilized bones, stone tools, fire pits, and footprints now found on the floor of today's North Sea. Most archaeological and geological discoveries come from geophysical data collected by oil companies, combined with artifacts dredged up by fishermen. Using this, scientists have reconstructed ancient maps of Doggerland, identifying forests, marshes, mudflats, and even prehistoric migration routes for animals and humans. This is one of the rare interdisciplinary projects linking archaeology, geology, paleobiology, and digital technology to recover the memory of a lost world. Doggerland's disappearance was the inevitable result of melting glaciers and rapidly rising seas at the end of the Ice Age, compounded by catastrophic tsunamis triggered by underwater landslides off Norway. These forces sent the entire region to the bottom of the sea. The story of Doggerland serves as a powerful warning for modern humanity. Climate change and rising seas are not just future threats, but forces that once erased an entire continent. What remains beneath the North Sea is not only an archaeological legacy, but a lesson in adaptation, vulnerability, and the limits of civilization in the face of nature's might. The prehistoric Golden Bowl. The discovery of a gold bowl embossed with sun motifs near Vienna has captured the attention of Europe's archaeological community. Dating back roughly 3,000 years late in the Bronze Age, it was buried alongside other metal artifacts, such as bracelets, wire, and decomposed cloth fragments. The bowl's alloy of gold, silver, and copper, together with its thin yet sturdy construction, attests to the advanced metallurgy of the people who lived here at the time. The gold bowl and associated items were found as part of a ritual hoard, highlighting the critical role of religious ceremony in prehistoric European life. The sun motif on the bowl's surface was not just decorative, it may have been part of sun worship rituals, reflecting a belief in the power of nature and supernatural forces governing harvests, weather, and survival. Comparisons with similar finds in Germany, Denmark, Spain, and Switzerland suggest that this style of gold bowl had widespread symbolic meaning, serving as evidence for the exchange and diffusion of sun cults among prehistoric European communities. Analysis of the accompanying artifacts, bracelets, gold wire, cloth wrappings, suggests they were likely used in rituals or as offerings to the gods. Stratigraphic and burial context indicates the gold bowl may have been associated with sacrifices or rites, marking important transitions in the year, reflecting the religious history and social structure of prehistoric Europe. Scientifically, the find of the gold bowl in Austria confirms the independent development of metallurgy in Central Europe from an early period, and sheds light on the rise of centers of power and the accumulation and use of wealth for religious purposes. The discovery of similar artifacts across Europe helps researchers trace networks of trade, technology, and belief that linked ancient communities across the continent. Thus, the prehistoric gold bowl is not just an isolated artifact, but a key to understanding society, faith, economy, and interconnection in prehistoric European life. Dinosaurs lived in herds. In the Patagonian region of southern Argentina, paleontologists have discovered an extraordinary fossil site containing over 100 fossilized eggs and 80 skeletons of the long-necked dinosaur Mesaurus patagonicus. The geological layers suggest these creatures lived nearly 200 million years ago in the early Jurassic period. Remarkably, the fossils are grouped by age, eggs and hatchlings in concentrated clusters, while juvenile and adult skeletons appear in separate, distinct areas not randomly mixed. This pattern provides direct evidence for herd behavior and complex social organization among dinosaurs, showing that individuals not only lived together but organized themselves by age group. Eggs and young fossils were typically found at the center of the site, likely protected by adults. This is the oldest known evidence of prehistoric animals living in herds with a structured social system far beyond previous ideas of dinosaur group behavior. The research shows that this collective behavior increased the survival rate of young and optimized the herd's resources, laying the groundwork for the evolution of later giant dinosaurs. Discovering social organization in animals from hundreds of millions of years ago clarifies how group behaviors developed and evolved, helping paleontologists understand the mechanisms of social evolution in ancient animals and the environmental factors that drove these changes through geologic time. King Xerxes and the punishment of the sea. In 480 BCE, Xerxes the Great of the Persian Empire launched a massive military campaign to conquer Greece. To move his army across the Hellespont, Xerxes ordered the construction of 2 colossal pontoon bridges linking Asia and Europe. These were meticulously designed, using hundreds of boats lashed together and topped with wooden planks, forming a temporary roadway for hundreds of thousands of soldiers and horses. But just as the bridges were completed, a sudden violent storm arose, and powerful waves destroyed the entire structure overnight, disrupting Xerxes' plans. In response to this natural disaster, Xerxes not only ordered the execution of the engineers responsible, but also made a decision that astonished ancient historians. He decreed that the sea itself be punished. Soldiers were summoned, carrying iron chains and whips, and marched to the water's edge, striking the waves 300 times while cursing the sea for betraying the Persian Empire. A great chain was cast into the water, a symbolic act of binding the sea, to assert the absolute will of humanity over nature, and to warn that even supernatural forces must submit to the emperor's power. Xerxes' act of whipping the sea goes beyond mere emotion or superstition. It stands as a symbol of the absolute power of ancient monarchies, in which the king ruled not only over people, but claimed control over all elements of the universe. The story also reflects the Persian state's boundless belief in its own might, while revealing the fragile boundary between human authority and the immutable laws of nature. For historians, this episode has become a classic example of imperial pride and a lasting question about the limits of human control over nature's forces. The incident is often cited as a symbol of power and ritual in ancient civilizations, where punishing the sea was not unique to Persia but also appeared in other cultures such as Greece and Rome, whenever rulers sought to affirm their roles as mediators between earthly and cosmic order. Though Xerxes' actions may seem unimaginable today, they offer later generations a deeper understanding of the psychology of power, the political rituals, and the enduring human drive to reach for the impossible throughout history. 32. The Neolithic Maze in Denmark. When archaeologists began excavations on the Danish plains, they uncovered a vast system of ancient wooden fences buried deep beneath millennia of accumulated soil. The arrangement of these timber posts did not simply form a perimeter, but instead curved and intersected, creating winding pathways much like a closed labyrinth. Dating to the end of the Neolithic period, around 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, these structures mark the earliest era when Northern European communities settled and began conducting collective rituals. Based on the interlaced pathways, many scholars believe this was not an ordinary defensive enclosure, but rather a ceremonial space. Here, rituals related to religion, fertility, the harvest, or the rites of passage may have been performed. The posts were arranged in concentric rings, sometimes with dead-end corridors forcing participants to find the correct way to the center, highlighting elements of challenge and passage echoing the famous stone labyrinths that would appear thousands of years later in the Mediterranean. Traces of charcoal, animal bones, pottery fragments, and stone tools found within further support the ceremonial function of this space. The cold climate and acidic soils of Denmark preserved the wooden remains in remarkable condition, allowing archaeologists to reconstruct the entire original labyrinth. The existence of such a structure reflects the organizational skill and technical knowledge of the Neolithic period, when people were not only hunters and farmers, but also creators of complex collective rituals. By constructing these large-scale wooden mazes, people of that era demonstrated their ability to shape the natural environment, use available materials, and express their worldview through physical spaces. These labyrinths were a nexus linking belief, community life, and technological progress, offering a glimpse into the spiritual lives, intellectual movement, and as yet unanswered mysteries of prehistoric European. If you find these mysterious stories fascinating, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss our next discoveries. See you in the next video.